Hello, I'm Max and I'm still working on my innovative auto battler made with Rust and Bevy engine. We have a Discord server now, so please join and share your ideas, feedback or just say hi, I'll really appreciate it. Since last time I've actually done some big things. The game has a brand new UI look, it is now open source on GitHub, and biggest of all, it now has multiplayer that you can actually play right now. Let me tell you all about it. So the game is now open source. I was thinking about it the whole time I was making the game. I guess with the collaborative nature of the game it makes a lot of sense, but I wasn't sure because I don't know much about open source stuff and I've rarely seen games that do that. The tipping point was actually when I found out that with public GitHub repo you can use their CI for free. So yeah, now the game builds automatically on every push and I can even publish the build for all platforms directly to each when I make a new release. Pretty nice. Since I'm working alone, I need all the time saved that I can get on some manual regular tasks like making a new build. Next, I started working on multiplayer and realized that it will require a lot of new UIs, and I just didn't feel like doing them in a quick whatever way and having to redo it all later. So I made a mockup with some minimalistic style in Figma. I figured out how GUI styling works and actually managed to make it look exactly the way it was in my mockup. Immediate mode styles actually make so much more sense. It's not a nightmare that CSS is for me. I can easily follow style changes in code and manipulating it is pretty easy. I'm still learning, but I feel more and more comfortable with GUI. I remade all the menus. It was surprisingly hard to make two buttons have the same size and feel whole width of the container. It is one of the flaws of immediate mode. It's hard to know widget sizes before they are drawn. I've spent some time figuring out my solution with not too much boilerplate, just to later find out that GUI has UI.columns that does exactly what I need. I embraced the GUI windows and yeah, I use it a lot. There is now a top panel with some buttons that open windows like settings or player profile. I also remade unit cards that show all the info about abilities and statuses. I like it way more now. So that's the new UI. Now let me explain what kind of multiplayer we now have. If you recall, in previous versions you could play infinitely and new enemies would be generated to be a bit stronger than your team. This would result in what I now call a tower. Each player can build a new tower this way, and after being defeated, this tower is added to the global pool of towers. Then you can play other players' towers and try to beat them. You will have to defeat all the floors that they've beaten, then the final floor that they didn't manage to beat, and after that you will face the final team of that player's heroes. If you beat all of it, you will become the new tower owner. New enemy floor will be added and your team will become the final boss of this tower. Your goal as a player is to beat as many towers as possible and hold ownership of them. In future, you would get a reward if someone tries to beat your tower and fails. But now I made a leaderboard table where you can see who owns the most towers and the longest tower. In earlier versions I will probably have to wipe all the data between releases, so let's see who will be the best before the next update. The way I made multiplayer was using SpacetimeDB. I just randomly stumbled upon it by reading a stream of one of its developers, and it turned out to be one of the coolest things for my network features. Even though it's still in active pre-release development, for me it works great. The core idea is that it's the database and server all in one. You just subscribe the client to tables that you need and data simply synchronized to the client to be accessed directly, as if it was simply game's data. And then it just works. It's just that simple and it's exactly what I wanted. I still need to figure out a lot of stuff with login and some data storage, but for now it's playable, albeit you can only play on one account per machine. So there you go. I was really looking forward to finishing this multiplayer mode. When I came up with this idea for the first time, it felt like the game can be actually fun and offer something that you can't find anywhere else. And this is only the beginning. I'm really eager to hear the feedback of players who check it out, and now I want to focus more on game's content. Right now there are only a few heroes, and I can expand the content pool a lot before the next version. This is why I need your awesome ideas, so please check out the Discord and share your thoughts. Thank you, friend, and I'll see you there.